You had a bit of an argument with the riggers.
Oh, I did. I'm not used to having what I would describe. I'm not very I don't like confrontation. Yeah, dog. I'm not used to having what I would describe as a full-blown row with someone, and then everything being absolutely fine, like it didn't happen.
I'm T, and this is Kath, and this is our home, Caladh. In 2018, we sold our possessions, left our jobs, and said goodbye to Manchester to become full-time sailing nomads.
Better, yeah.
We've been sailing around the world for the last 3 years now, doing our best to document the adventure as we go. We haven't put a time limit on this, we don't have a fixed plan. So we have absolutely no idea how this is going to turn out. We hope you'll join us for the ride, and if you enjoy the Sailing Nomads videos, please consider subscribing. It's a great way to support our channel. Thank you and welcome aboard.
So what happened it was something about a light. It was like fairly non-important. I was like, well, the mast's down, I'm not planning on taking the mast down again, so I do want this light changed. And I thought you'd check.
It was broken.
It was broken. So it's like, I do need it changed before we put it back up again. And he was really cross. He was really cross because he was on a time limit, so I do kind of get it, but like, we had an electrician there, he had the spare light, it was going to take like 5 minutes max. Anyway, so I was like, no, we do need it doing. And he stormed off. He stormed off in an absolute huff, and then he went "vento pistello," which means, and it's one of the few phrases that I have learned, which means I don't believe it. So I was like, no, I know what that means. Do believe it, because this is happening. And it was fine. By the time he'd stormed off and come back, the new light was on, so I didn't feel that bad about it. But then 5 minutes later, we were just laughing and joking like nothing had happened. And this is the norm. You have a full-blown row. That's all I can describe. Can only describe it as a full-blown row, and then everything's laughing, joking, back to normal.
But on the other hand, what it means is that you can just drop some of your British reserve and just have a bit of a go back. If you're feeling a bit cross about something, or you want to make a point, or somebody starts shouting at you a bit, you kind of learn that you don't have to go, take a step back. And you
go for it.
Kind of lose your reserve, and you just.
It's quite refreshing.
Say what you think, and sometimes that's the right way to engage, and it kind of moves it forward a bit.
And then it's fine. It's totally normal. I think it's quite refreshing, and actually, you get across what you want. It's so hot. It's so hot.
It's a
I'm
macho,
not surprised.
and it's a macho culture, isn't it? So
Yeah.
you've kind of got to fight fire with fire a bit.
Yeah, you haven't got. It's 35 degrees, you haven't got time for niceties, you're just dripping with sweat. You just need it done, just need the mast back up and done. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So far this season, we'd left Samos and sailed west across the Aegean, stopping briefly in Athens to replace our standing rigging. In the last chapter, we'd sailed south from Athens towards the Peloponnese. You join us now as we head into the deep Mani, home to the Maniots, who claim descendancy from the ancient Spartans.
This is Sparta!
were blown away, not literally, by the steep, rugged and mountainous coastline, scarred with the occasional road and broken by coves and fortressed villages characteristic of the Mani. One of the highlights of this bit of the trip was Elafonisi. It's not often we actually find ourselves somewhere that looks like a travel brochure, but this really did, and it was a real treat. We continued to anchor in some of the most beautiful bays and coves, feeling very privileged and humbled considering what was unfolding around the globe. As always though, we weren't completely without drama.
We had another incident. This is probably one of the only heart-stopping moments we had this season. So we were at anchor, and we always take bearings. We always watch the transit for a bit, make sure we're okay. But there's all these anchor alarms, and I'd used a few of them, but I've not settled on which was my favourite. So I thought, idle moment. I'll set them all up, and I'll see which one's the most accurate. Because we had a little bit of wind. It was one of those nights where it wasn't code red, but you wanted to keep a bit of an eye on it. So I thought, I'll try them out.
We've been there for 2 days.
Yeah, we'd already been there. We'd held for 2 days. It was absolutely fine. So it was more I just wanted to see what the patterns were going to look like, and how sensitive they were. Blah blah blah. So set them all up. Sat down below. Anyway, and then they all kept going off, and I was like, oh, they're all rubbish. They all keep going off. We'll load roll. This is technology. Anyway, set them up again. All went off. This can't be right. Middle of the night. Well, I'll go up. I should probably check. Came up on deck. Checked that we were in 32 metres.
We were.
We were
drifting out to sea.
They were all accurate. Can you imagine if I hadn't? We were about to go to bed. No cause for concern whatsoever. So I still don't know which is my favourite. I mean, they all went off, so
they all worked.
They
were pretty good at it.
Test one, tick.
Yeah.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
As the sun set on the horizon, we'd also decided that the sun would set on Stinky, our old petrol outboard engine. After a lot of research and thinking, we decided to opt for an e-propulsion electric outboard, equivalent to 3 horsepower, which we should be able to recharge on the boat from our renewable supply. We will do a full review video at some point, but in summary, we chose this because it's greener, it splits into 2 parts, which makes it much easier for us to get onto the tender. We don't have to carry petrol on board, and it's very quiet. As we'd made the decision to travel back to the UK to be closer to family, we were nearing Caladh's winter spot, and this sail was to be the last of the season.
was it. We had some dolphins.
Oh yeah, we had dolphins. And the Peloponnesus is gorgeous.
Yeah, not a lot of shelter in some of it. But,
yeah, not loads of options, but
really nice.
But really nice. Less wind in the Aegean, obviously.
More mosquitoes, but that kind of goes together, doesn't it? Mosquitoes don't like wind.
It wasn't long till Caladh was back in the slings again, and I was taking the backstay off to make sure she could clear the crane. We were sad to take her out, but we figured it was the safest thing to do under the circumstances.
But sad to be going, glad to be going back, because that feels like the right thing to do at the minute.
Yeah, I'm really sad. But I didn't think we'd have a season, to be honest. I didn't think there'd be any sailing this year, so everything's been a bit of a bonus. So we'll take that.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a tough year for everyone, and I'm sure you can relate to the isolation and decision fatigue that we've experienced. Your comments, messages and support have really helped to keep us going. We can't thank you enough, and a special thanks to our Patreons. Stay safe and let's all keep everything crossed for 2021.